Bears situation is blowing up right now. A veteran running back could be on the verge of being cut as the front office evaluates emergency options. Meanwhile, a rookie defensive lineman is struggling to fit into a system that could destroy their career before it begins. An exclusive: an elite quarterback hunter could be available if a crucial decision is confirmed in the next few hours. If you're a true Bears fan, you need to hear this now. Like, subscribe, and get ready for the truth that many want to hide. What's going on with our running back situation? I'm telling you this. We're facing a total overhaul of the backfield that nobody wants to admit. Insider Brad Biggs just dropped a bomb about our running back group, and the implications are huge. For this season, D'Andre Swift will be the undisputed star under Ben Johnson. And you know what? I think it makes perfect sense. These two have already worked together in Detroit, and Johnson is very excited to reunite with Swift. With an improved offensive line, all our running backs should look better, but Swift will clearly be the main man. Ross and Johnson's situation is what really worries me. Remember when we all thought this guy would be the future? Well, now he might just be fighting for a spot on the roster. Biggs mentioned that he never had a real opportunity last season, and that the front office still wants to see him get a chance. But let's be honest, what does that really mean? I ask you, when does wanting to give a chance translate into real confidence? I tell you, never. It gets even more complicated when we analyze the rest of the group. Travis Homer has his spot relatively secure because of his contributions to special teams. That's already one spot taken. Then we have rookie Kyle Monangai from Rutgers, whom the organization clearly wants to evaluate. And if we add that the Bears probably won't carry more than 4 running backs on their 53-man roster, the math is brutal for Johnson. And what happens if they bring in another veteran? Biggs left the door open for that. Ben Johnson has preached that he's trying to create as much competition as possible in training camp. If they bring in someone like Nick Chubb or J.K. Dobbins, where does that leave Johnson? I think directly on the street or as trade bait. The Bears had trouble establishing their running game consistently last year. A revamped offensive line won't mean much if they don't have the right personnel running the ball. Is Johnson that personnel? Based on what we're seeing, the organization doesn't seem convinced. And when an organization doubts you in the NFL, we all know how that story ends. The drama continues in Lake Forest, and this time it comes from the defensive line. Shemar Turner, our second-round pick, might be facing a monumental challenge that nobody is discussing enough. Why? Because he's coming from a completely different system than the one the Bears plan to implement. For 3 years, the Bears used a single-gap approach on the defensive line where players attack spaces. Turner comes from Texas A&M, where they used a 2-gap system where interior linemen hold up blockers while linebackers make tackles. And now, with Dennis Allen, we're implementing a hybrid. I'm telling you, this is a recipe for disaster if not handled correctly. New defensive line coach Jeremy Garrett explained, "We want to hit blockers. We want to attack up front. We want to knock guys back. That's our mindset." Essentially, they're combining 1-gap and 2-gap styles. They're attacking, but attacking blockers instead of occupying them to benefit the linebackers. Can Turner adapt to this? I think the question is legitimate because we're talking about a fundamental change in how he plays. Turner says, "It's going to be good." I feel like I catch on pretty quickly. But what did you expect him to say? I'm lost? Of course, he'll say he can adapt. He mentions he'll absorb information from veterans like Gervin Dexter and Grady Jarrett, like a sponge. But even these veterans will have to adapt to this new system. The question is not just if he can adapt, but where they'll place him: edge, tackle, end. Turner had his best season as an edge in 2023 with 6 sacks and 11 tackles for loss. When they moved him inside as a tackle last year, he had only 2 sacks and 6 tackles for loss. I ask you, is a second-round pick worth it for a player who doesn't have a defined position? I say no. Turner says he's willing to play wherever. My ability to do just about anything on the defensive line. Wherever they needed me, I was more than willing to go there. Sounds good in theory, but in the NFL, specialization is key. Jack. Of all trades, master of none, as they say. To prepare for playing inside, Turner had to gain weight. I had to put on some weight. Started eating my Chipotle and stuff like that. Is it that simple? No. Physical adaptation is one thing, but technical adaptation is an entirely different challenge. And that's what worries me with Turner in this new defensive system. High alert. While everyone is applauding our 2025 draft class, there's a huge omission that nobody wants to admit: the lack of an elite quarterback hunter. But I've just heard something that could completely change our defensive prospects for 2025. The Carolina Panthers might be about to cut Jadeveon Clowney. And guess who could take advantage of this situation? Exactly, our Chicago Bears. The Panthers general manager, Dan Morgan, hasn't given Clowney the vote of confidence we'd expect. We're still working through our roster. We're still talking about things. Obviously, we're focused on the draft right now. Does that sound like a commitment to Clowney to you? Not to me. And when Morgan repeats, we're just working through things, he's clearly signaling that Clowney might soon be available. I'm telling you, this is exactly the same pattern we saw when the Falcons released Grady Jarrett, and we took advantage of that situation. The 2025 season will mark Clowney's 12th year in the NFL and his age 32 campaign. Is he the long-term future? No. But is he the perfect short-term solution for our pass rush problem? Absolutely. I ask you, would you rather rely on untested rookies or bring in someone who knows how to get to the quarterback? In 14 games last season, Clowney registered 46 tackles, 11 quarterback hits, and 5.5 sacks. If he had been with the Bears, he would have tied with Montez Sweat as the team leader in sacks. His Pro Football Focus grades were solid. 70.8 overall, ranked 47th out of 211 edge rushers, and 73.2 in pass rush, ranked 30th out of 211. These numbers don't lie. In 2023, Clowney had 9.5 sacks, and he had another 9 in 2021. So even though he's in the twilight of his career, he has still shown he knows how to get to the quarterback. We wouldn't necessarily expect a 9-sack performance in 2025, but at least we know we have a bit more firepower on our defensive line. Chicago already added pass rusher Deo Odeyingbo with a 3-year, $48 million contract. He's set to form a lethal combo with Sweat. Clowney wouldn't cost nearly as much and would provide ample support on both sides in a rotational role. While we currently have players like Austin Booker at defensive end and Noah Sewell at linebacker, Clowney would give Chicago a proven guarantee. The Panthers might decide to keep Clowney. Of course, he has 1 year left on his contract. But Carolina invested heavily in that position during the draft. They might opt to trust their youth instead of keeping Clowney. And that's where we come in. At this stage of his career, signing Clowney wouldn't be the blockbuster move it was in previous years. But it would be a sensible addition for a defense looking to make a massive turnaround in 2025. I think it would. Be foolish not to try if the opportunity presents itself. Can we really afford to let a talent like Roshan Johnson go? When was the last time we saw someone with that potential just disappear from our roster without a real chance? Think about it and comment below. And about Shemar Turner, do you think our coaching staff is making the right decision by asking him to adapt to a hybrid system? Or are we wasting his potential by not clearly defining his role? Your opinion matters, so don't hesitate to share it. Finally, Clowney could be that X factor our defense desperately needs. Is it worth taking the risk with a veteran, or do you prefer to give opportunities to the young ones? I want to know exactly what you think. This Bears Nation family is built with each opinion, each debate, and each shared passion for our team. If you want to stay up to date with the most exclusive news, deep analysis, and unfiltered opinions about the Chicago Bears, you know what to do. Subscribe now, activate the notification bell, and be part of the fiercest pack in the NFL. See you in the next video. Bear down.